From Washington, this is VOA News. More U.S. pressure for a military strike on Syria. Baghdad hit by deadly bombings. I'm Ray Kouguell reporting from Washington. U.S. Secretary of State John Kerry says taking military action against Syria is definitively in the U.S. national interest. Appearing before the Senate Foreign Relations Committee Tuesday, Secretary Kerry said it is beyond any reasonable doubt that the government of President Bashar al-Assad dropped chemical weapons on civilians, and that President Obama plans to do something about it.
He is asking only for the power to make clear, to make certain that the United States means what we say, that the world, when we join together in a multilateral statement, mean what we say. He's asking for authorization to degrade and deter Bashar al-Assad's capacity to use chemical weapons.
Secretary Kerry says there is solid evidence the military carefully prepared for the attack, and he called it common sense that the rebels were not responsible. Top U.S. lawmakers from both parties say they will support President Obama in military intervention against Syria when the issue comes to a vote as early as next week. President Obama met with leading members of Congress Tuesday to make the case. White House correspondent Ken Klein reports.
After the meeting, the top House of Representatives Republican, Speaker John Boehner, thanked Mr. Obama for seeking congressional approval. He said he would vote in favor of the plan.
This is something that the United States as a country needs to do. I'm going to support the President's call for action. I believe that my colleagues should support this call for action.
Boehner called Syria's alleged use of chemical weapons a barbarous act and said only the United States has the capacity to prevent it from happening again. The top House Democrat, Minority Leader Nancy Pelosi, agreed and called on the administration to make public more of its intelligence about the incident near Damascus. Kent Klein, VOA News, the White House.
The UN Refugee Agency says more than 2 million Syrians have fled their war-torn country. More than half are children, with most under age 11. The UNHCR says more than 97% of Syria's refugees are in neighboring countries of Lebanon, Jordan, Turkey, and Iraq. The UN High Commissioner for Refugees, Antonio Guterres, says these countries are in need of massive international support.
To preserve the stability of those countries in this extremely difficult situation is absolutely essential. The war is already spilling over into Lebanon and into Iraq, and the risks of an explosion in the Middle East are growing by the day.
A wave of deadly car bombing swept across the Iraqi capital Tuesday, targeting restaurants, markets, and mosques, leaving at least 50 people dead. Police say 11 separate bombings hit predominantly Shiite neighborhoods in Baghdad in a 2-hour span. The deadliest attack took place in Baghdad's Talabiyah neighborhood, where authorities say bombs and one or more vehicles killed at least 9 people on a busy street. An Egyptian court ordered 4 television channels to halt their broadcast, including Al Jazeera's local affiliate and a network belonging to the Muslim Brotherhood. Egypt's interim government says Al Jazeera and several other media organizations have been broadcasting biased information. Al Jazeera took issue with that and denies the charge. Japan may allow some of its contributions to the international side of the Khmer Rouge Tribunal to be used to pay salaries of striking workers on the cash-strapped Cambodian side of the court. The announcement came a day after about 200 Cambodian staff at the UN-backed court walked off the job after not being paid since May. Japan's government says it will spend $470 million to help deal with repeated radioactive water leaks at the troubled Fukushima nuclear power plant. Prime Minister Shinzo Abe said at a meeting of Japan's nuclear task force that he is optimistic increased government funding can improve the situation. The Miss World contest says it'll be skipping its usual bikini contest this year during its annual pageant on the Indonesian island of Bali. Pageant officials say the contest will be adapting to the cultural norms of the conservative Muslim-majority country, where some conservatives have criticized the event. Miss World organizer Budi Restanto says the bikini competition will be transformed this year into a beach fashion show, with all the contestants clad in traditional Balinese sarongs. And U.S. firefighters are making gains in battling a massive wildfire in the western U.S. state of California. 75% of the so-called rim fire is now contained. Cooler temperatures and higher humidity have helped more than 4,000 firefighters battling the blaze. I'm Ray Kouguell, VOA News.